If the firestorm came fast, it soon moved on, leaving in its ashen wake a sad and smouldering silence. Gary and Anya Pratt feel like the lucky ones, alive to tell the tale of the deadly Gippsland blaze that swept through the central Victorian hamlet of Coligny on Saturday. 21 people in the district are believed to have perished in the ensuing maelstrom.
And we were cleared. Well, I don't know what burnt. I don't know where that fire was or what was burning, but it
ran with the wind.
Just came.
And the raw and the darkness. It was like a scenery of apocalypse.
It's very sad. It's, you know, we just don't know. We won't know, I suppose, for a long time yet who's made it, who hasn't. There's only a handful of houses left up there. Majority of them are all gone.
Coligny has remained a crime scene ever since, closed off to the media. Only today were cameras allowed in. Police suspecting the fire, which has already destroyed 40,000 hectares in the Churchill Geraldine district, may have been deliberately lit, fitting a familiar pattern in this area.
In regard to the investigations in the Gippsland fires, we believe some of those fires were deliberately lit. There were a number of fires that were lit, or we believe were lit deliberately, some week and a half or so before the events of last Saturday. There's a major investigation going in regard to that.
Victoria Police Assistant Commissioner Danny Maloney heads the newly formed Phoenix Task Force, investigating the many charred crime scenes like Coligny across the state.
We are following up a number of leads. I am certainly not prepared to discuss the number of people that we may or may not be looking at, or who. That is our job, and obviously once we establish, it is very important. We've got two jobs here. One, to prove people innocent, and two, to identify the perpetrator.
What sort of charges could this lead to?
There could be charges as high as murder, depending on the circumstances, the motive and so forth. There is a specific charge within Victoria, deliberately light a fire and cause death. Now, that has a penalty of 25 years jail, and I think that reflects the community attitude towards this type of behaviour. And certainly the government have set a penalty like that for such a crime, and it certainly supports my views about the crime.
Since the fires, controlled access to these areas for those whose property has been damaged or lost is taking its toll on weary residents.
It's been very frustrating because I've got animals up there that I need to feed.
That's right.
And I haven't been able to get through to do it.
Them.
Not legally anyway. You know, people have snuck through back roads and that to get there, but I mean, I want to stay within the law.
And so that it's safe.
Cop pulled a gun on a neighbour and wouldn't let him back in. They have to pull two guns on me to stop me getting back home.
But people are tired and tempers are fraying, and there are unconfirmed reports of looting.
There was looting after the fires around Darlamoola and Merba North, just a week before these fires. So it's happening, and people are supposedly getting changed into stolen police and CFA uniforms and going and telling people to leave their homes and then looting them.
What I suggest, if anybody suspects anybody in their area that has got no reason to be there, we know our geographic areas, we know who our neighbours are, take registration numbers down. Please take registration numbers down and feed that into your local police. Feed it into Crime Stoppers if necessary on 1800 333 000. Use the communications we've got to at least lodge that vehicle A was acting suspiciously in our street. If in fact we discover, of course, later in regard to thefts from building sites or whatever, or the carnage out there, we can follow it through. The second thing is, I was at a major meeting with all the management of the force this morning. This was discussed at that management meeting in regard to the stepping up of patrols with available resources to counter that.
The gloom hangs in the air with the lingering smell of smoke, poignant reminders everywhere. Here the remains of the chicken that sought refuge with a stone duck, the house that survived unscathed, but whose owner died, having panicked and attempting to flee by car. Amidst the ashes there are so many powerful stories, One Coligny classic, the story of 97-year-old bachelor Charlie Richardson.
Uncle Charlie is deaf, he doesn't listen to the radio, but he is always on smoke watch.
Bushfire brigades attacked the flanks of the fires along the foothills.
Charlie, you must understand, was in Coligny when the dreadful Black Friday fires back in 1939 roared through, claiming 71 Victorian lives.
And lit undoubtedly deliberately by the hand of man.
Having survived that, Charlie Richardson also lived through the 1944 fires that claimed 51 Victorian lives. So when the fires of 2009 approached, Charlie told his worried relatives he would stay and face the fire.
He had all his correct gear ready to fight it, and no one was going to move him. He was quite prepared to take it on, and he really believed that if you stayed, you could defend your house.
I rang and heard that everything was gone, that Uncle Charlie couldn't have made it. They were sorry to tell me that, yeah, he can't have made it. It would be a miracle.
This is Charlie's house today, but somehow when all seemed lost and the fire had passed, out of the smoke and darkness, 97-year-old Charlie did it again.
We had a convoy with the SES and there was fire trucks and that we made our way back down. But just as we were leaving, Charlie was staggering around on the road. His 97-year-old man.
What a man. And they found him in a wet blanket on the edge of the road. He'd been through the fire. He lost his house, he lost everything. He's in hospital now. He survived it all.
Everyone describes him as a tough old bugger, and I think that's quite appropriate, and I don't think he'd be offended by that at all. I think, in a way, he'd be pretty proud. But he's got some serious issues to deal with now. He's got a lot of serious burns, so if he's got over this one, if anyone can get over the next hurdle, it's going to be Charlie. So we just will be supporting him 100% and hope to see him here soon.
Charlie Richardson didn't want us to film him in hospital. He didn't want any fuss. His challenge will be recovering from burns to his chest and arms, and the skin grafts they will require. But recover is what he intends to do, though he hopes this will be the last bushfire he'll face in Coligny.
I feel so proud we did it. We got through it.
When